Hi everyone, welcome into the newest edition of the Kanawha Valley Sports Notebook. I'm your host, Taylor Kennedy. Thank you all for joining me. However you may be listening or watching this program, you can find this podcast wherever you get your podcasts, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube as well, or audio or video. Not yet 3D, working on that. Maybe 3D, maybe in the future. IMAX, maybe not, but I can guarantee you that we are on YouTube and on other audio platforms as well. So again, thank you all for joining me. You can follow me on Twitter at Taylor_Kennedy7 for all of the latest about this podcast and much more going on across the Kanawha Valley. Follow the Gazette Mail Sports page at Gaz, G-A-Z Mail Sports. That's G-A-Z Mail Sports. So again, follow us on Twitter to see all the latest in regards to what's going on our website at WVGazetteMail.com and even other features and social media stuff that we have going on our social media platforms. So busy show yet again for you guys. Similar format to what we did last week. Here in just a couple of shakes, we will hear from Rick Lord as to who is this week's HD Media and Building and Construction Trades of West Virginia Player of the Week from Week 6 of the high school football season. So we'll do that here in just momentarily. Then in our second segment, we will hear from the head football coach of the George Washington Patriots, head coach Steve Edwards Jr. His team captured a 22-11 victory over the Parkersburg Big Reds last Friday night in Wood County. So we hear from Coach Edwards about that victory and what they are working on in this bye week. They do have a bye this week with a 3-3 record. They have won their last 2 games. So we'll do that here momentarily. But before we get to that, let's hear from Rick Lord. And Rick, who is this week's HD Media and Building and Construction Trades of West Virginia Player of the Week?
The Week 6 HD Media Building and Construction Trades Player of the Week is Avante Crawford. The quarterback for the Huntington Highlanders had a big game against Riverside. And hey, if you're going to be Player of the Week, you might as well get things started right off the bat. How about the first play from scrimmage for Huntington, a 38-yard touchdown pass from Crawford, then showing off the versatile Highlanders offense with quick plays like this one to get them down into scoring range. Crawford, not a huge stat night, only 7 passes on the night, but they did go for 3 touchdowns, and he also ran a touchdown in right here from 5 yards out. Huntington cruising early and often in this one, and check out the touch on this rainbow. Again, one of 3 touchdown passes right there into the back of the end zone, and then capping his night off with another touchdown pass. This one, a little back shoulder action right there. Great game from Crawford, great game from Huntington, and Avante Crawford is the Week 6 HD Media Building and Construction Trades Player of the Week.
And there it is. Avante Crawford is this week's HD Media and Building and Construction Trades of West Virginia Player of the Week after a fantastic game against the Riverside Warriors with 4 total touchdowns, 3 coming in the passing game, 1 coming on the ground. So congratulations to Avante Crawford on that incredible feature. Coming up next in our next segment, we will hear from the head football coach of the George Washington Patriots, head coach Steve Edwards Jr., and we will hear from him following this team's 22-11 victory over the Parkersburg Big Reds, who was rated number 6 in last week's WVSSAC playoff ratings. So we hear from Coach Edwards on the other side of this break as they head into their bye week, as they will cap off the final 4 games of the regular season following their bye week next week, which is week 8. Then in our final segment, we will go over the week 7 slate involving football teams from Kanawha County, Putnam County, and Cabell County. So we'll talk with Coach Edwards coming up here next on the Kanawha Valley Sports Notebook.
Hi, this is JJ Roberts from Huntington, and when I'm back home, you will find me at my local Parmar store.
We had that thundering herd pride at your local Parmar stores. We are over 200 stores strong and growing. Download the Parmar app for even more savings and sign up for the Parmar Rewards Card. Whether it's food, gas, or groceries, we have you covered. We are Marshall, and we are Parmar stores.
If there's not a Parmar store near you now, there will be soon.
In an ever-changing world, one thing you can always count on is Walker Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Hurricane. You know, Gene and Ryan built their business the old-fashioned way by making friends. There are no gimmicks or games at Walker, just honest, fair deals, and their method is so straightforward it may shock you. Friendly service and a huge selection of inventory with more arriving daily. When you're ready for your next vehicle, take the short 20-minute drive from Charleston or Huntington to Walker Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, just off the Hurricane exit of I-64. Walker Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, making friends one deal at a time.
Welcome back into the Tuesday edition here of the Kanawha Valley Sports Notebook. I'm your host, Taylor Kennedy. Thank you all for joining me. However you may be listening or watching to the show, you can find us on YouTube. Just simply hit the subscribe button and give us a subscribe, and we look forward to seeing you and hearing from you down the road as well. But we are staying in the now instead of looking too far ahead into the future, and we are pleased to be joined by the head football coach of the George Washington Patriots, head coach Steve Edwards Jr. Coach, welcome to the program.
Hey, thanks for having me. I appreciate
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, 3-3 on the season. You guys have won back-to-back games, South Charleston and then last week against Parkersburg. Before we look too far ahead into what happened last week against Parkersburg, talk to me about what's different about your team following the 1-3 start.
Well, I don't know whether it's how much different we are, but you know, our kids have just kept playing hard. They kept believing in themselves. They believed in what we're doing, and they're just getting a little bit better every week. They executed real well this past week. We did a lot of good things. We hustled, but I think they're buying into, like, you have to play hard for 4 quarters, and when you can do that, give yourself a chance.
You mentioned the buying in aspect of it. How encouraging is that for you as a head coach, seeing your guys being able to buy whenever you do have some guys that might not have played last year, now they're having to step in and take on a bigger role than they expected?
Well, it does. It makes you feel confident, it gives you some confidence. When you get confidence in the kids, and the kids have confidence in themselves, then they seem to play a lot better. So that's where we've been. We've been trying to gain some momentum there with some depth, and I think we've developed a little bit of depth. It was really tough doing with the tough schedule that we got going on, but we're getting better and better.
Talk to me about last week's game against Parkersburg. You guys were on the road to Wood County. You guys faced the Big Reds. You win 22-11. That 11 points was actually Parkersburg's lowest point total this season. It seemed like it was a good win for you guys in all 3 phases. Offensively, you guys moved the ball well. Defensively, you guys held them to their lowest point total. Special teams, you had a blocked punt as well. Do you think that win was a 3-win phase for you all?
Well, no, I mean, we just played hard and we executed well. They turned the ball over, which was very unusual for them at this point in time. They hadn't done that before, but I think we helped force a little bit of that. We forced that with the way our kids played. Our kids playing hard, they made their own luck for a change. We had a punt blocked, and we were very fortunate that we were able to fall on it in the end zone and make it into a safety instead of 6 points. That could have been devastating. But even with that being said, that even the setbacks, our kids fought through the setbacks, and I'm really proud of them for doing that. It's something that you know, you don't know. You hope your kids do. You think they will, but when they do it, it really makes you proud of them.
Did you learn anything new about your team following that road win?
Well, when I watched the film, I knew we played hard during the game because we had to. But when you watch the film, some of the extra effort that we gave winning effort, and therefore in turn, it's something that they can see. It's something we can point out to them and use it as a learning tool. That you know, it's just not all bark and words, but it's actions. And when they're actions, when they play hard like that, when they can see it, it helps you. It helps you get your point across.
What do you think this win does for you guys from a morale standpoint? It was a win against a top 6 team according to the SSAC playoff ratings. What does this do for you guys moving forward?
You know, I don't know. We don't talk about that too much. We just, you know, we wanted to even up last week, and we wanted to stay in the race. And as long as we can stay in the race and stay relevant, that's the most important thing for us. But we got 4 more ball games to go, 4 good opponents, and anything can happen. So we're going to have to work hard. We're going to take this off week and work a little bit on some of the things that we need to correct, and then we're going to start probably tomorrow working on our opponent.
Talk to me about this bye week for you guys. Obviously, your first bye week of the season, your only bye week of the season. When you go into a bye week, what do you try and look at and either get better at, or just how do you approach a bye week per se?
Well, we try to do reflection. We reflect a little bit about ourselves. We do a little bit of self-scouting. We did last night in our staff meeting, and I take a look back at my notes that I've taken, and I try to get to talk to the team about some things that I've observed, some things that we need to get fixed. It takes a good time for us to get fixed because we're not really concentrating on the opponent this week, and we could concentrate on the opponent ahead, and that's us, and trying to get better on some little things. And it's important. I think it's coming in really an important time for us right now, and I'm hoping that I can help our kids take advantage of it.
You mentioned your final 4 games of the season. You guys will end the regular season against Woodrow Wilson. When you look at these final 4 games for you guys, what are you wanting to see differently about your team?
Well, I just want to not really so much different. I just want to keep approaching the 1 game at a time deal. And I know that's coach speak and all that stuff, but it's true. You have to do it. You have to go like that. You can't look ahead. Don't look too far ahead. You just take care of business. You go to work and you take care of business, and then you get paid, and then you go on to the next job. So that's exactly what we're trying to do. It's the mentality we're going to try to take, and it's not easy. Anything can happen. I mean, injuries, bad luck, all that kind of stuff. What you try to do is just keep working hard, play hard. You play through it all, and make your own luck.
Let's talk some personnel here, and let's start with Keegan Sack, because Keegan's had a great year. He's one of your top rushers on the ground. He's the top receiver for you guys this season. I think he has over 15 catches on the year. When you look at Keegan, how have you seen him blossom into what he is this year?
Well, Keegan works so hard. And he's a very conscientious player, and he's a good team player. And it just makes me feel good because he is he's a poster boy for working hard, taking your talents and developing your talents and putting them on the field, and good things will happen for you.
When you look at how he's matured as a leader, it seems like he's developed that and he's embodied that just from what I've been able to see from afar on the field. Are you seeing that leadership quality in him be almost being revolutionized into what you're wanting him to ultimately be?
Well, I'm hoping to. I'm still working on him a little bit. He's still a little bit quiet, but he's getting better. He's a real shy fella. I mean, believe it or not, but he's very confident in his abilities. I'm very confident in his abilities. And I just work with him a little bit on communication, and work with him a little bit on having the confidence and showing a little bit more confidence. And he's just a really nice guy, and I always like to see good things happen to nice guys.
Anthony Valentine, definitely another guy for you guys. You guys move him around a lot, it seems like. Is it nice having a guy like that? Because obviously Keegan can go 2 ways with offense and defense, but with Valentine, you guys move him around. It's almost confusing for opposing teams to know, okay, where's he at? 'Cause you got to know where he's at all times.
Well, I hope so. So that's a plan. But he does a great job also. I mean, he has worked so hard himself to develop. He's gotten a lot faster. He made a big hustle play for us this past weekend, running that kid down at the 6-yard line. That was huge. And see him being able to do things like that, watching, when you see your better players play well, that makes you feel good. I mean, it really does. I mean, because things can happen out there on the field, and you never know what they're thinking. So, but I know one thing: those guys, when they come to play, Anthony Valentine, he's had a great year catching the ball. He's running the ball. He's doing a great job on defense. We played him in 2 or 3 different spots. Same with Keegan, and they, those 2 right there, they do anything you ask them to do, and they do it to the best of their abilities.
And then obviously, before we go into another guy, I want to talk about Abe Fenwick, your quarterback. The offense is not starting until he claps the hands and the ball gets snapped to him. When you look at Abe, obviously he's been a guy that's just been a glue guy for you guys. He's been around the whole time. When you look at Abe's game, what do you think is next for him and his player progression moving forward throughout the rest of the year?
Geez, the thing, we look at each other, we as coaches sometimes, and we go, wow, we're really going to miss that guy. Because sometimes he's thinking so far ahead. He knows what we're thinking. You ask him a question about what we called, and he's reading your mind. And that is so important to what we do. And he knows his personnel. He knows he has confidence in his personnel. He has confidence in the line. And he's just a great talent. I mean, he's another good talent that we have. And I'm so fortunate to have him, and he's very smart. And when you put those kind of things together, you can't help but be successful.
And then obviously, again, the offense can't start until the ball gets hiked. Aiden Ellis, one of your key linemen, your center. At some points, he could take some of the snaps. When you look at his game, he's obviously getting some collegiate talent as well. What's allowed him to become this ultra talented lineman for you guys?
Aiden Ellis done it. I mean, Aiden wants to be good. He wanted to be good. He wanted to learn. He's a sponge. He does whatever it takes to get the job done. He does whatever it takes that can help him be a better football player, which in turn helps him be a better teammate and good for the program. He's been a big, pleasant surprise for us, and very fortunate that he chose GW.
A couple more for you, and this is obviously your alma mater. I've seen you show me some old pictures of you playing sports whenever you were donning the Patriots uniform, but what does this mean for you just to be able to follow in the footsteps of your dad, because your dad was the head football coach here, the field's named after him, but to be able to follow in his footsteps and also be able to coach your alma mater, what does this mean for you as a coach?
Well, it's really a blessing for me. I mean, it was something that I think early on that I wanted to do, I thought I could do. Then I finally got the opportunity to do it, and to be able to carry on, because I knew how hard my dad worked. I knew that he'd been here since the school began, started he was part of the start of the program, and build it. And I learned a great deal from him on how to do those things. And I saw something that I go, you know what, man, that's just something I really think I could do, and I want to do. And then when I got the opportunity to do it, I mean, he was around to help me. And I've had a lot of great assistant coaches that helped me. And this community's been great to the Edwards family. It's been good. I mean, it's home. And I really care about the place. I care about the community. I care about the school. It's just one of those things that not everybody gets an opportunity to do things like that, and to coach with their father, and to make this community and make this school a family operation. And I guess that's the best I can put it. It's just been a real blessing, and my family has enjoyed it, and I'm not ready to give it up yet.
A couple more for you, and again, you're a veteran coach. You've coached for a long time. You've played as well. You've been able to see high school football at its peak. You've been able to see it at its worst here in the state of West Virginia. And right now we're going through an interesting time. We won't go too far into this, but you've been able just to be a part of football in a variety of ways. What makes Friday nights here in the Mountain State so special?
Well, it's the people, it's the fans, it's the communities, it's the history. I mean, West Virginia football, West Virginia high school football, there's a lot of great history here, and people don't forget, and they always remember. And then on Friday nights, it all comes back to them. And there's nothing better than coming out on a Friday night at your high school, wherever you are, and the band's playing, the lights are on, the smell of the popcorn, and just the excitement of the kids, and just seeing that in their eyes, and remembering and reflecting back how it felt when you were that age. Can't beat it, man. You just can't beat that.
And then finally, obviously, this whole transfer rule has definitely been a lot of news, a lot of talking in high school sports, but I won't ask you about that specifically, but I'll ask you about this reverse bill. Do you think it's too late for this transfer rule to get reversed?
Do I think it's too late to get reversed? I don't.
Just from what's happened with how it's just amplified the transferring and everything else, but do you think it's too late for this to get reversed?
I don't see where it's going to be that beneficial if you did reverse it at that time. It's been going on forever, and it's going to keep going on whether you reverse it or not. I don't think you have enough data and facts to. There's a lot more things involved than just kids leaving. I mean, and they're leaving for all kinds of different reasons. So, I think there's a little bit more research that needs to be done before you can make a decision like that. You've got it on. There's a lot of people and families pulled up roots. Some of it's been great for us. Some of it hasn't been so great. I mean, you're going to find on both ends. But, parents are still going to do what's best for their families, and whichever way they can do it. And it's made it to where everybody can do it, and not just the ones that can afford it do it. So, that's just my opinion on it, one way or the other. It's just something I've been doing this 28 years, and kids go and kids come. So, and they're going to keep doing it no matter what, when I'm gone. So.
Absolutely.
That's the best I can say.
Well, Coach, I appreciate the talk as always. It's always good, just the hospitality. It's always good to chat with you. But again, good luck the rest of the way. I appreciate your time.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Head football coach of the George Washington Patriots, Steve Edwards Jr. Up next, we will finalize and cap off this new edition of the Kanawha Valley Sports Report, and we will do that on the other side of this break. Stay tuned.
Hi, this is JJ Roberts from Huntington, and when I'm back home, you will find me at my local Parmar store.
We had that thundering herd pride at your local Parmar stores. We are over 200 stores strong and growing. Download the Parmar app for even more savings and sign up for the Parmar Rewards Card. Whether it's food, gas, or groceries, we have you covered. We are Marshall and we are Parmar stores.
If there's not a Parmar store near you now, there will be soon.
In an ever-changing world, one thing you can always count on is Walker Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Hurricane. You know, Gene and Ryan built their business the old-fashioned way by making friends. There are no gimmicks or games at Walker, just honest, fair deals, and their method is so straightforward it may shock you. Friendly service and a huge selection of inventory with more arriving daily. When you're ready for your next vehicle, take the short 20-minute drive from Charleston or Huntington to Walker Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, just off the Hurricane exit of I-64. Walker Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, making friends one deal at a time.
Final segment rolling along here on the Kanawha Valley Sports Notebook. As we say goodbye, let's go over the Week 7 slate of the high school football season, and a lot of great games at Kanawha, Putnam, and Cabell County. There's also some matches of teams going outside of this region, so let's take a deep dive into who is playing who and where they are playing as well, and let's do that now as we head to Cabell County, where the Musselman-Appleman will meet the Cabell Midland Knights for the second meeting all time. The first meeting came back in 2017, where the Knights won that game 28-18, and staying in Cabell County, as the Woodrow Wilson Flying Eagles will travel to Cabell County to take on the Huntington Highlanders for the 26th time. Huntington has won the last 13 meetings, and in those 13 contests, Huntington has scored a combined 548 points. Let me say that one more time. Huntington has scored in the last 13 meetings against Woodrow Wilson 548 points against the Flying Eagles. Unbelievable feature from Huntington. Going to Princeton, West Virginia, where the Princeton Tigers will welcome the 4-1 Hurricane Redskins for the 8th all-time meeting. Hurricane and Princeton met last year, where the Redskins won that meeting 49-13, and Hurricane has won the last 4 contests against the Tigers. Going to Jackson County, where the Ripley Vikings will welcome the St. Albans Red Dragons for a battle of winless programs. Both teams are looking for their first W of the season. This is the 20th all-time meeting between these two schools, and Ripley has won 7 of the last 10 meetings against the Red Dragons. Going to Kanawha County, as Riverside will take on the Capital Cougars, and they will meet in Quincy, West Virginia. And this is the 28th all-time meeting between these two schools. Capital has won the last 11 meetings against the Warriors. Capital has also won the last 5 in Quincy. Going to Nitro, West Virginia, as Nitro will welcome Buffalo for the 11th meeting all time. Nitro has won the last 4 meetings against the Bison, and this series started back in 1930. Among all the storylines, this is also Nitro quarterback Josh Mooney's first game against his former team in Buffalo, so that'll be interesting on Friday night to see how that shakes out. Going to Putnam County, and the Polka Dots will welcome the Winfield Generals in this historic rivalry, as they will meet for the 81st time all-time. Polka leads the series 47-31-1 with that one tie, and the Dots have won 5 of the last 6 meetings against the Generals. And then finally, going to Wayne County, as the Wayne Pioneers will welcome the Herbert Hoover Huskies for the 21st all-time meeting. Wayne leads the series 14-6. However, Hoover has won the last 3 meetings against the Pioneers. So again, follow me on Twitter at Taylor_Kennedy7 for all the latest about the show and much more. Follow the Gazette Mail Twitter page at Gaz Mail Sports. That's G-A-Z Mail Sports. That's G-A-Z Mail Sports on Twitter. And again, subscribe to this podcast wherever you get your podcasts, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. I will see you all next week for the newest edition of the Kanawha Valley Sports Notebook. One note before we say goodbye, stay tuned for Thursday, as we will have our newest edition of 40-Yard Dash. I know that I won't give too much away, but I'll say this: he was just as good as our previous 6 football coaches, so I'm very excited to unveil that this Thursday. So again, follow the Gazette Mail on Twitter at G-A-Z Mail Sports. That's G-A-Z Mail Sports. I will see you all next week, and thank you again. Stay safe.